part 8 of the RazorwireReviews Bat-a-thon, and that is my mum laughing in the background. So anytime she does, which is usually around every 20 seconds, just imagine the Joker laughing like a madman. So this installment is not going to be a film of any kind, which is kind of going off my original point for this whole thing. But I did review a game a couple of parts ago, so in this part I'm going to be talking about The Dark Knight Returns, the graphic novel. Now, if you've been watching all of these, you'll know that at the start of this whole series I said that I know nothing of the comic books, nothing of the graphic novels, and I'm not going to attempt to kind of research them or read them or anything. And I guess I went back on that because every time I go into the bookshop in where I live, I always have a look at the comic books, and I kind of go, let's have a look at the Batman ones, and I have a look, and I just there's just so much choice, and I'm just like, no, I can't. I used to read comics when I was a kid, like Sonic the Comic, which was awesome. You know, stuff like the Beano and the Dandy. Anyone from the UK who's around my age will probably know what they are. Yeah, so like normal comic strips, you know, but I'd never read a superhero comic book before, ever, really. I think I had like a graphic novel of a Star Wars film as well. But yeah, so this is the first time I've ever read a superhero comic book, which is apparently really funny. So yeah, this is one that has been acclaimed and just like cited as one of the best Batman graphic novels / comic books out there. Dark Knight Returns. It's funny, and it's just like and I was recommended by a few people who I know who read these kind of things, and you know, are big comic book geeks, nerds, fans, readers. The Dark Knight Returns was the one to go with. There's also Year One, which is also from the guy who wrote and drew this. Batman Year One and Batman, I don't know if it's called Batman, but The Killing Joke by Alan Moore, who probably most famously was the creator of Watchmen. So it was a toss-up between those three, really, and I went for this one, and it was pretty cheap, so I thought I'd go for it. And I'll tell you what, I really enjoyed it, and it feels weird trying to review this now because it's not like a film, I guess, and there's a lot to kind of talk about. There's Joker on the back there. First of all, this just looks amazing. Just the artwork, you know, and I believe that this was released in 4 different parts, like over a year or half a year or something like that. So this is like the collection of all 4 books. So you get like the book cover there. It literally does sound like my mum has been like drugged or something. Like she's taken the Joker gas and she's just uncontrollably laughing every 30 seconds. But yeah, so it's just like really cool like cover artwork for the books. It's kind of split into 4 books, and you know, it's just, I don't want to just stand there showing you everything, but it's great, and like every now and again you'll get like a full page kind of like great piece of artwork. The story is Batman has been retired and he's been out of action for years. He's in his 50s and he's old and grey and, you know, and achy and all that kind of stuff. And Harvey Dent is released from Arkham Asylum, and basically the press are kind of building up, well not building up, but kind of just portraying Harvey Dent in a positive light and saying, you know, he's a tortured soul, and you know, he's had a breakdown, and we need to be nice to him. And the public are like, oh, it's so, you know, everyone's so sympathetic towards it, but you know, Batman's like, hang on, something's a bit fishy here. And, you know, I can't even remember like how this all kicks off because so much goes on. But basically, Batman he's slowly kind of convinced to come back as Batman. He's kind of slowly just going through everything in his head, and a lot of this is told through these little TV boxes. You see a lot of newscasts, and it's a great way to tell the story. I'll be honest, I got confused at times because there's so much going on, so much text. It's packed, but it is a really great, you know, just a great story. I really love it. Just, and here's Batman here just reliving his parents' death, and just he's watching all these newscasts and just like, you know, I need to get back in this, you know, I need to finish what I need to finish and that kind of stuff. Commissioner Gordon is in his 70s and he's like a couple of weeks away from retirement, and there's also this mutant gang, I forgot to mention that, a gang of mutants, like teenage mutants, but they're not Ninja Turtles, and they're like just, you know, murdering people, raping people, and like just causing mayhem basically. That's another main reason he's coming back. And then of course, as soon as Harvey Dent is released from Arkham Asylum, he goes missing, and then, you know, Batman has to hunt him down. That's one of the the stories in this. And then it carries on, and there's this little girl who she's saved by Batman, and she decides she's going to be the next Robin. She buys herself a Robin suit, and see if we can get a picture of her somewhere. But you know, she's like, she kind of fancies herself a new Robin, a female Robin, and then she ends up kind of crossing paths with Batman. He takes her on as the new Robin, you know, and it's kind of, it's cool, it's different, and it's just like gritty, and just really like, it's just amazing artwork again, and the story just grips you all the way through, I found. And I'm not going to say that it was completely like, oh, this is amazing all the way through. At times I was like, okay, so what's happening here then? Did that happen there? And I would get a bit confused, and then I kind of flip through a couple of pages and trying to get myself back into it, because it is, you know, I haven't read comic books before, so just getting into the frame of mind of reading one and keeping up with it was quite difficult, but at the same time really enjoyable. So Frank Miller, he wrote this, and he drew all of it, which is pretty fucking awesome. And this is one of the main kind of inspirations for the 1989 version of Batman by Tim Burton. He cited this and Year One as kind of his inspirations for taking Batman on film into a newer, darker kind of place. So I guess it's kind of linked in with everything I'm talking about. This is one of the main things that kind of inspired a darker take of Batman on film. Now I don't know if I'm going to spoil anything for people who haven't read this, but again, this is like a, you know, near 30-year-old graphic novel now. But the Joker makes an appearance. They basically try and do the same thing they did with Harvey Dent and bring him out of Arkham Asylum. Yeah, hilarious. They try and bring him out and rehabilitate him and stuff, and they get him on a TV show, and that's when shit kicks off and the Joker's back. And there's just this amazing scene with Batman and the Joker that's just so creepy, and just like, I would love to have seen that on film. Like, it is just like, again, that's a shot from the scene with Batman and Joker. Really creepy and just awesome storytelling. Superman is involved towards the end as well, and they kind of bring politics into it, like the missile crisis and all that kind of stuff. It's brilliant, you know, and you get like an epic battle between Batman and Superman, and you know, and there's little things in there that people who are just fans of Batman and not like comic books in general will get, like, you know, Selena Kyle makes an appearance, an old Selena Kyle. And this edition itself is great. It's got like an introduction by Frank Miller. There's another cool shot there of the old Batman and the young female Robin. And then at the end you get the original cover art for the books when they were released at the time singly. So book 1, The Dark Knight Returns there. Book 2, The Dark Knight Triumphant. Book 3, Hunt the Dark Knight, and Book 4, The Dark Knight Falls. So as you can see there, that's again very kind of almost leaning towards the logo that would be used for the 1989 Batman film, which is also, I believe, kind of in the background on like the newscasts and stuff, because there's people who are like opposed to Batman and people who are in favour of Batman, as you can see here. And the yellow and the black, you can see really where it was influenced Tim Burton. So yeah, we get the covers at the end, and we also get a 48-page chapter for the last book, Book 4, and it's basically a script by Frank Miller. So this is really interesting. It's basically the last book of the whole thing in script form, and with a few doodles, annotations, ideas, and it's quite different from what actually ended up being Book 4. A different ending as well, so that's really interesting and really cool addition to the graphic novel. So there, that's my thoughts on The Dark Knight Returns. I'll probably talk about it a lot more, but I want to keep this a little bit short, and I did actually say I was going to be doing the animated films for this Monday's episode, installment. This part was supposed to be the animated movies, but I haven't watched all of them yet, so that'll be probably in the middle of this week or the weekend or something, and then, because it's going to be a two-part, because I'm talking about all the animated films. It's a lot to go through, and then Batman Begins and Dark Knight will follow, and then The Dark Knight Rises, and then we're done with this. But yeah, 8 parts already, pretty cool. I'm really enjoying this, and this was a cool little diving into the Batman comic book world. Again, this is, you know, this is like a darker, kind of grittier graphic novel, and not really representative of like the classic Batman in comic book form, but either way, it was big influence on people who made the films and so on. So it's cool that I did this, I think, and I enjoyed it a lot, and you should check it out if you haven't already. So there we go. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time with the animated movies. Graphic novels / comic books out there. Dark Knight Returns. It's funny, isn't it? It's just like...
No, I was actually picturing the Joker this time, which made it funny.